Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Great Teacher Onizuka, episode 18. Oh, I love this show. The show's so wacky and zany. But now we have Urumi Kanzaki. And she's blackmailing Great Teacher Onizuka.
Very successfully, in fact.
She's done it so well that it's like, they basically said, welcome to the main antagonist, because she's sticking around for a while.
But she's not like the main antagonist, right? Because this is all about how Onizuka just wins, right? And we still haven't gotten to, like, Aizawa.
Aizawa, we have already, at the very least, had encounters with her.
This is
where
true.
Onizuka has won, though.
Yeah.
So I know that he hasn't defeated her and made her join his side, but I think this is more like enter the like we said, the Moriarty to his Sherlock, you know, the rival.
But what if Urumi was actually like the dragon to like the final boss? You know, she's the super strong opponent it's
gonna take him to his darkest place so that he can finally grow to be the great teacher. Maybe, but
that way then he's ready to face.
But she's
Aizawa.
kind of like power leveled herself far beyond, so it's kind of like he accidentally went and encountered a high level enemy before he was ready for it,
right?
So now he has to build himself back up to face them. So I think the first encounter with her was the dragon, and the last encounter with her will be that kind of
okay thing. All right, well, we shall have to see.
We'll have to see. Yeah, it's a great show, crazy show. Looking forward to more of it. So without further ado, let's get into this. Wait.
Oh!
New opening! Okay. Actual nudity now.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Alright, this is pretty good. But like but the old opening was so good. The animation on this one is solid.
Animation? There's no animation.
Hey, they have a bunch of still images, but the previous one did too. Yeah, okay, so those few animation moments were like, that was all the animation they could afford.
Lonely. I like that.
What is with that face?
Lonely. Dude, this is like some James Bond stuff, right here.
So this is what early 2000s, or wait, no, early 90s. Wait, was that CG?
It was all a dream, buddy.
Yeah, this looks like CG.
At least we know, like, what he thinks about himself in his head, you know. He is the great teacher Onizuka. Oh, yeah, it is 3D.
I love how they're going into so much detail for the cresta. Yes! Like, I have it back at long last. Yes, indeed.
No, never again. Yes.
I love it.
Uh-oh. He's here. Retreat! No! Stop! No!
I feel sad.
We were all rooting for you.
We believed in you.
Oh my god. Wow, Urumi Kanzaki, holy crap.
Wow, and she's telling everyone about it.
No way.
ランプのせいさんが今日の社会の時間に授業をサボってお寿司食べたいっていう私の願いを叶えてくれるらしいんだけどみんなも来る？給食があるだろうが給食がだって美味しくないんだもんマスカルが変わって食えばいいんだよへえじゃあ先生は好きなんだ臭い飯 ランプのせいさん、大トロがいっぱい食べたいな。
Oh my god, it's so pathetic.
一体どうやってあの子を学校好きにさせたのかしらね。
きっと愛の力ですよ。鬼塚先生には大きな愛の力が。
愛があるのかしら。
Oh man.
私は大トロが食べたいって言ったの。本物の大トロが。
That's the restaurant's fault.
ランプのせいさん。
Oh my god. That's the marbling. Yeah, they look like Kobe beef for sure. Probably just melts in your mouth. Oh, I'm getting hungry.
Oh boy. Tuna after this?
Sushi?
Sushi, yeah.
I don't know where we can find good sushi, but good point. Yeah.
チョコどうしちゃったの？
あれだ、今出てるよ。
Whoa, really?
Wow.
飲みよ、どこなの？
この間の井の頭公園のイメージガールコンテストで
Awesome!
審査員
Yes!
特別賞を取ってさ
Cool.
Cool, and she's in a commercial!
追加しちゃおう。おじさん、おかわり。
先生。
He's just eating away his sorrows.
Yeah.
How is he gonna pay? Is he gonna dine and dash?
Maybe, and then leave the bill with them.
大丈夫なの？
Oh my god.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Onizuka.
まさか
Even she's freaking out. Ah, yep, dine and dash, I guess.
Chasing him with a knife.
I just need to go get money. Yeah. Dead. He's dead. Maybe this was all actually a part of his plan. He can get out of everything if he's injured.
Wait, well, also, he can get money from this guy
Yes,
by suing
exactly.
him.
Exactly. What if this is all his genius plan? Ah, yes! Yes! Brilliant! Onizuka! It is!
どうしたのマネージャーさん。出てきちゃダメだ。飛ぶじゃん。鬼塚先生が当たり屋さん。
Oh no! No!
やっぱみ
Oh!
んなこんなところ
Whoa!
で。
That's her!
Yeah.
ルルミちゃん久しぶり。
She had to remember her name. Right.
会いたかったよ。おお、よしよし。
Gotcha. What the?
わけだ。トロ追加ね。3人前。あとイクラとアワビ。
Jeez.
まだ食うのか？
He's like, I almost died.
Yeah.
I
Makes
need
you
to,
hungry.
I need to regenerate.
急に腹減っちゃってな。お代が20万超えてるんですけど、支払いの方は。大丈夫。全部こいつが払うから、さっきの分も。僕がですか？急に頭がガンガンしてきた。わかりましたよ。
Oh!
払えばいいですよ。
Terrible.
さっきからチーフかな
Yeah,
と思っ
yeah,
た
yeah.
ら。
投稿写真雑誌だけどね、先生と一緒っていう新人アイドルを紹介するコーナーがあって、思い出の場所で先生と会って。
先生
Yep.
待て、トルコの先生っつったら俺じゃねえか。
女性アイドルの場合は女の先生って決まってるん
Oh,
で
this is
すよ。
gonna be Kanzaki.
誰が決めたんだ、誰が。
いませんよ。
I don't know.
先生、5年の時の担任だった。
もう結婚してるのか。
まだ独身だって。
年は。
大学出てすぐうちのクラスの担任になったって言ってた。
26、7って。
よっしゃ、守備範囲。
Within my range.
私も一緒に行ってみてな。先生、私も知ってるんだ。
じゃあ僕もご一緒しましょう。
A lighter? empty life.
She gonna set him on fire.
Uh-oh.
私月刊写真投稿のはじめまして聖林学園でトロいや野村くんの担任をやっている鬼塚英吉22歳独身です。野村くんの小学校の時の担任の先生にこうやって会えるなんて
You're laying on way too thick, Onizuka.
くりと情報交換でも
情報交換ですか？
Watch. She sees Urumi
Oh,
and then
yeah.
she freaks out.
うるみってまさか。
Oh. The teacher is like, no.
神崎さん、
The music.
お元気ですか？
Yeah.
あなたも元気そうね。あのね、神崎さん、
Oh
あなたに
no,
ずっと
come
謝
on.
らなければって。Tu ne
Come on.
pardonneras jamais.
Whoa.
Tu l'as oublié peut-être.
What the heck?
Tu m'as dit si tu l'as. ヘラシトワ。
ダメだ捨てろその中にはガスが
Holy crap.
Okay, I understood that she said your father. That's the only thing I understood that she said.
神崎何のつもりだ小学校の時の先生に向かって
私にとっては最も軽蔑すべき職業だわ。
なんだとどういうことだ
理由はその女に聞いた方がいいんじゃない？
Holy
鬼塚
crap!
先生、こいつ先生の好みのタイプだよね。好きにしちゃっていいわよ。大丈夫、絶対逆らわないから。さあやって、ランプのせいさん。
Yeah.
ざけんなよいい加減にしねえか
です。
Why?
私が悪いんです。
She said she was going to
けど
apologize.
あいつのやったことは悪ふざけにしちゃどうこしてますよ
Yeah, yeah.
僕はビシッと注意してやらねえと一教師として
いいんです、本当に。私が悪いんです。だから
Why? Why?
Yeah.
私は教師として、それ以前に人として。
Whoa, how unforgivable though. Whoa, okay. You have to say, this is what we've been suspecting, is that there's been some kind of
あの時と同じ
trauma, you know?
学校がドカーンって。
She blew up their old class?
私のせいだわ。
Why?
Yeah.
Tell us! It's probably something illegal. Like something really, like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
will be ruined. She will go to
Yep,
prison,
yep,
probably. Like, she said is, like, despicable as a human being.
Yeah.
So,
It's like child abuse or like
yeah, probably.
ゼロ。
Oh my god! Yep, this is some serious classroom terrorism now.
他にこんな真似ができる人間がいるはずないだろここまでやるなんて神崎てめえの少年俺が叩き直してやるぜ一教師として
Oh my gosh.
oh, new ending too.
Oh. Oh.
I like the tune of this one.
Yeah. I kind of assumed there would be a new ending, but I kind of forgot that endings are a thing.
Right. Now, Urumi was shown. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, let's see if we can get any more from this.
wait, was that the?
That might have been the teacher.
Well, oh, possibly. For a second, it looked like the girl from the first episode.
Oh. Mizuki?
Uh,
I got her name written down in the notes.
yes.
The one that said, I'll wait for you, Onizuka. That would be crazy if she suddenly came back into being, like, relevant or something.
I mean, just because she's here doesn't necessarily mean that, but it could be like, I don't know. But Urumi is in this a lot, so is she going to be around for a problem for a long time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, once she was basically like, I've got you as my genie. I assumed that was going to be the primary problem from here on out for like a long time.
Oh boy.
Oof. But I guess now that we've moved more into the anime, he's actually in the teacher position here in the ending, you know. He's not out on the rooftops, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. So
she bombed the school.
She did something with that, probably the similar gas that she came up with the idea with the lighter, because it was more so like kind of a flash explosion, like it didn't put the school on fire.
Yeah, it was more just to shatter all the windows.
Yeah. So it's something that, you know, is easily replaceable with a large amount of money, but wow, she left her mark on the school there.
Yes, she did.
Okay, so Kanzaki knows Toriko. Yeah, Toriko or Tokoro? Toriko.
Tomoko.
Tomoko is her name, yes.
Yeah, and then Toriko is her...
Or Tomo-chan. You know.
Yeah.
So Tomo-chan is like a pet to Kanzaki.
Yeah.
And she sees nothing wrong with this because she's innocent and kind of ditzy. But, there's the tie into the past we were expecting. We were expecting some kind of abuse, some kind of trauma. Because this is the thing. The intelligence is completely separate, in my opinion, from the brokenness internally.
Right, yeah.
There's a completely separate, connection.
It's just that because of her intelligence, when there is that brokenness and whatever it was that happened, 4 years ago, she was able to act on it to a much more extreme degree than the other
some
students.
Johan level
Exactly, right.
Stuff.
And the way they set it up, it really makes it seem like she might have been the one who started or organized, or at the very least, was the galvanizer for the retaliation against teachers.
In what context are you talking about here?
Well, okay, because basically with how they've set it up, it seems like, all right, this is something that happened with several of them being present.
Several of who?
The students that are here in this class. Right
now, which are you talking about? 3-4 now? Or are you talking about?
I'm talking about 3-4, but several 3-4 students were together in the past when the event happened, right? Because it was 4 years ago, so they were in middle. They weren't in junior high, so they were. It was a while ago, right?
Because they're all the same age. Yes, we can put them into the elementary school together.
Well,
but that doesn't necessarily mean they were at the same school because
right. They weren't
necessarily
and they wouldn't necessarily be in the same class and things like that.
Yeah,
but
so I think that's a little bit of a.
But we know that Tomoko and Aizawa were always together, growing up. So that makes it seem like those three.
I could definitely see that. But what does that have to do with the teachers?
Because Aizawa and Urumi are the only two, as far as I know, that we've seen have a just hatred towards all teachers, right?
Well, Onizuka didn't like teachers.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's just a theme of the story.
No, I know. But
you're talking about it as a plot point?
As a plot point where they have that and then they try and basically get revenge on teachers, right? Because Urumi mentioned 4 years ago, Aizawa also mentioned that thing, that happened before.
She did?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, they I can't remember when exactly it was, but
I'm just not able to follow. How about you give your discussion bit because I don't understand entirely. So make it clear.
There was something that happened a while ago. It involved this new teacher that we were introduced to here.
Right. That's what with Kanzaki.
Right. Exactly. And Toriko still likes this teacher. Now so she might not have clued into what happened.
Are we gonna call her Tomoko, Toroko? I guess it doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But Kanzaki and Aizawa were assuming that it's the same event. It wasn't like multiple events over a long period of time.
Okay.
Because they did build up this event to be, something unspeakable for a teacher and also a human being, which puts it into crazy territory there.
I hope they're not using hyperbole and blowing it out of proportion because I could see them doing that in this show.
And they could kind of get away with it maybe if Kanzaki was basically doing the Scar thing, from Lion King, where he manipulates them into sort of focusing on it and blowing it up in their minds and it's all your fault and everything.
Right. So that's all a part of her influence on them, making them say exactly that it's something so awful.
Right. But barring that, this seems like something where it is in fact something that's very bad, where having it affect the students like this is understandable. Now
you keep mentioning the students.
Yeah.
Now, you're connecting because they would be all around the same age. So if we transpose them 4 years ago to that time, that teacher would have had 3-4 students in there other than Tomoko, Kanzaki,
and then and I'm saying
maybe Aizawa.
I'm saying at the very least Aizawa, because we know her and Tomoko were just thick as thieves, constantly together growing up, right? So, but then quite possibly, probably others too. They don't necessarily have to, because I don't know exactly how the Japanese school system works and all that stuff. But if that is the case, then basically my theory of that Kanzaki instigated a lot of the retaliation against teachers, or at least the initial retaliation. But seems to make more sense, but it doesn't necessarily have to. But
I get that there's a connection between teachers being driven out by class 3-4. Now class 3-4 is a third year class,
right?
So it wasn't like the number has anything to do with it.
No, it's
right?
the people.
So it's the people. So that fits in the logic there. But it seems like a little bit of a stretch if it was to go from she bombed the previous class, like Tomoko said, she made the whole thing go boom, to them having that despite her like very rarely being in the class. Because this is the thing, she wronged Kanzaki, she didn't wrong Tomoko. So I don't get where the connection of this is why all teachers are bad goes to then all of them doing that.
So maybe it's something that was a bit more systemic, where maybe it was something that was like at the school that they were at, there was all kinds of crap that was happening on like a regular basis, and maybe Toriko or Tomoko wasn't really aware fully of what was going on or how bad it was.
Could totally
and that was why she stuck with Kanzaki so much, because Kanzaki, super smart and everything and knew what she was doing, and would throw her the appreciation that she was so badly desiring from, say, Aizawa potentially, but not getting.
Gotcha. It's weird because don't you get the vibe that because this is a comedy show, it's really hard to go in depth into logicking out plot based on world building stuff?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's very easy with the way they set up certain things, especially when they go into kind of hyperbole. I know it's probably going to be justified, specifically
at least to some extent.
To some extent, with this new teacher saying I did something that was so horrible, like fundamentally awful or whatever for a teacher and a human being.
Yeah.
But I have trouble basically going, okay, let's assume this is all right here. And basically I love your theory that like at the very least Aizawa was there in addition to Tomoko and all that there. And maybe they witnessed it and they're the reason they're kind of championing this.
Right.
But I still feel like it'd be the kind of thing where it would have to be so vindictive. It would have to be so vindictive from Kanzaki, but not in such a way that it damages the other kids. That's why I think there's some kind of a disconnect here.
Okay.
Because this is something that, wow, maybe as a junior high kid, you're like, yo, that's so crazy. She blew up the school. Come on, Other people would be like, hey, there could have been people there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the heck? There's a thing where you can kind of target it towards teachers versus like I am chaos terrorist. And
right,
then,
exactly, yeah.
So I feel the disconnect there. And maybe there still is one, and what it is it's more she just ruled from that place of charisma and fear.
Sure.
From then on out.
Yeah,
and she just manipulated them to do those things.
And with how smart she is, she could have very easily done it when no one was there, you know? So it's more of like
that's true.
An act against the school rather than an act against, you know, like there, you know, no collateral damage as far as people are concerned.
Right.
But
okay, so let's run with this. I think you're really onto something here. So Aizawa kind of has this fear, like, oh, you. Maybe Aizawa has that because she was one of the people there, and everyone else is just kind of bandwagoning people. Like they're not really against teachers,
which makes
they
sense
just find
why,
it fun,
right? Which makes sense why Onizuka was able to turn them so easily. You know, with Kikuchi and you know, and Kunio and people like that. Whereas with Aizawa, it's like, no, this runs deep. And then when she's losing all her other soldiers, she calls up Kanzaki.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. It's the kind of thing where there are leaders, there are upper echelons in this whole thing here, and then everyone else, maybe not Kikuchi, but most everyone else, like Kunio and all them, they're very much they're just doing this for the hell of it. Because I mean. You're junior high. Your life is just like, how many things can I... Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like 12. I was like, okay, I wasn't in a public school setting. But when I was just outside, you know, just messing around or whatever, I would just break stuff. I'd just grab a stick and go and just like, you know, attack random like bushes or whatever, destroy them or whatever. Or like, you know, building like, you know, dirt piles or whatever and just causing a mess, just being chaotic mess. If I was in a regular school setting like this, I don't know what I would have been like I have no idea. But okay, but we're introduced now to potentially the very real connective character tissue to Kanzaki's trauma and her character. Like, okay, she spoke in French. Now, I could go back and I could listen to it because I know actually some basic French. But the only words that actually kind of stood out to me, because I listened for those specific nouns, you know, was ton père. And ton père means your father. Now, under what context in the slightest does a teacher's father have to do with an elementary school student? Yeah. Unless the father was someone in the authority system of the teachers at that school.
But it could still be the same thing.
It could still be the same thing. But still, that's the kind of thing where I go, wait, hold on.
Well, and with Yoshikawa being the first student that Onizuka reached at this school, at least, you know, not including the first episode, that shows that they're absolutely willing to get into the heavy stuff.
Yes, that's true.
So it's not just stuff of like, you know, Kunio being angry and, you know, and protective of his mother and things like that.
And there's some cute, like, emotionally deep things in there. But
it's not like, but that's not trauma.
That's not trauma.
Right? No. It's not Kikuchi where he's just like, hey, I can have fun and do this stuff because I'm basically a god in this world of like, you know, no one knowing what technology can do. so I'm just gonna do stuff because why not? You know.
Oh, that's great.
Like ways to pass the time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with that. She's been traumatized, potentially by this teacher's father, and somehow she's responsible, or she believes she's responsible.
Right. Maybe she basically turned a blind eye to the signs, you know, or something like that,
crap.
Or like
I'm a mad.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Her father is the principal.
Sure.
Her father is the principal. You get sent to the principal's office.
Yeah.
For an hour. This is starting to piss me off. Like, this is the kind of thing where I really hope it's not this. Because in some ways, I kind of like to dislike Kanzaki. Like, she is a really, really unashamedly awful person.
Yep.
But the thing is that, you know,
well,
there are worse people than Kanzaki.
Right. And
there are plenty of worse people than Kanzaki. And this is another thing, like, this is just something that's crazy, is that, like, we're dealing with, like, 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Yep.
Like, these are third years in junior high. So they're oldest 14.
Yeah.
That's, like, the oldest they can be, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because 15-year-olds is first year. Yeah, the whole shonen thing. Right. So
right.
4 years ago was 10. 10.
Yeah.
I don't care. You mess with kids, like, you go to, like, the execution block in my my world.
Well,
like,
and the thing is that's Onizuka, let's just say, I get the feeling he'll have similar feelings on the subject.
Yes, and this is how he can connect with her.
I would not be surprised if we found out where that dude was living, assuming he wasn't, like, he's not in jail right now.
Dude, he's totally alive. It's been 4 years.
No, not that he's alive, but, like, depending on how it all ended up getting resolved when the person was caught. Because here's the thing. The fact that they have all this trauma from this doesn't just seem like trauma. This seems like trauma that went unattended, right?
Wait a minute.
You know,
brilliant.
that no one could prove anything, and it's all kids, and kids say all kinds of things, right? You know,
so she's carrying out her vendetta against teachers because a teacher is out there that should have gotten in trouble but didn't. She's utilizing this leverage that she's like, eventually I will be respected enough to have my opinion be validated. Until that time, I am going to make your life a living hell if you are ever within my eyesight. So I don't want to see you again.
Right.
Now, this is all very good speculation. I think this is all very probable stuff. Is it going to be this way? I don't know. This show has done Yoshikawa, but that was a long time ago.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
Very true.
It has been a while since we've had something so serious in such a way that didn't have the comedy, I would say, lightening the dramatic load.
Right.
So I say we hold on to this theory. We look for any more signs, and we just kind of keep it in there, because I think that if that was the case, that is something that she would not say. Like, she would be so scared because it's not just the fact that, like, she probably knows it's wrong, whatever the thing is, but it's the fact that if it's something that she's not saying, it's probably something that affects other people's lives as well. And that would make sense if it was something like her father. Maybe she knows. Maybe she's been constantly. Maybe she's been abused by her dad as well.
Sure.
Like, who's to say that it's kind of the kind of thing where, you know, she's more worried about the repercussions of kind of society looking differently at her. Because, let's be real, like, society is not really nice to the victims of abuse. We just kind of are like, I don't know, there's a weird stigma.
But what's great, though, is that Onizuka, if/when he finds out about this, he'll just bust down the guy's door and beat the crap out of him.
With the big mallet hammer,
he will scare this guy so shitless, right? Like that I will come for you. And by the way, I have killed people before. Like, you know, Onizuka might have, we don't know.
I don't know. I think he's the kind of person that probably got on his reputation by beating people within an inch of their lives,
exactly,
you know?
Yeah. Because he is, after all, the hero of justice, and we can't have the hero of justice have permanent blood on their hands.
That is true. That is true. We had the Cresta. The Cresta is back.
The Cresta was back, and then it was back.
So much beautiful comedy this episode.
Yeah.
Also, new opening, new ED, and new...
I'm so sad.
New art style.
Yeah.
New artist on the character animation with the... the looks for certain characters are just different.
And we got CG this episode.
We got CG at the car. They were very proud of it. They did that whole panning.
I was gonna, because with
dashboard
with CG for anime, there's this most people don't even like it still. But you know, when it was like first coming around, it's like okay, getting used to it and stuff. and I wouldn't have expected it to actually be this good. They used it for a car, which is a good choice. Don't try and use it for other things.
Yep. That's
but
generally
this,
when all anime use CG nowadays. Actually,
right? Yeah,
it's for cars.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and maybe some buildings. But
sure.
But but for how old this show is, because this show is old. It looked pretty good.
Not bad.
I wouldn't have been surprised if that was a paid product placement.
They don't say the company with it.
Yeah, probably not.
But is it Cresta a specific
I don't know.
manufacturer
This
model?
is so old.
I don't know anything about cars either.
Not around anymore. I don't know.
But yeah, the
original material, so it probably wouldn't have been. But
right. So the Cresta's back. It's not broke at the end of the episode. It's right at the beginning.
And you feel so bad for the vice principal because
he
tried. I was rooting for you.
Yeah,
you were almost there. Why did you back up in reverse? And the way that he's backing up towards one side of the thing, and then he swerves away. And I'm like, oh good, oh good. And then he just keeps going and hits the tree. And it's like
I was worried another car was gonna come inside and T-bone him. Yeah.
No, but Onizuka was the one that got T-boned this episode, which was amazing, by the way. The whole thing with the food, and then him eventually just breaking as he's realizing how much money he's having to pay for this, and he's like, fine, bring all this stuff over here.
Bring it all here.
He's eating like crazy, and he's he's almost crying and stuff too, because there's those perpetual stress anger marks all over his head. They were even on his hair at some point.
This poor guy has been haunted by a demon succubus monstrosity, and she's now actually being wait a minute, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Even Speedwagon is afraid,
Yeah,
and
straight up.
Yeah, and in this case, he ends up doing the thing we expected absolutely once he jumped into the road. We're like, wait, this is all a part of his plan. He's just gonna try and get him to pay for everything, and then he's like, shut up, I'm trying to get your bill paid, and he's grabbed him by aren't you supposed to call for an ambulance?
And when he gets the huge platter, and when he runs, he's still running with the platter. He's like, this is a trophy,
So that all worked out. And that was fantastic.
And we got Toriko back, or Tomoko.
Yeah.
She came back, and she looks totally different.
And she looks so happy.
Mm-hmm.
She looks so happy being, successful and being a model and an actress and all that. That's fantastic.
Doing commercials and
it's
everything.
A continuity thing that shows that Onizuka's influence extends outside the classroom. It extends into people's personal lives.
Right.
Actual well-being is affected in a positive way. So it's just he is definitely a great teacher, Onizuka.
Because showing changes of character,
Totally.
that is very important. That is the most important thing, right? And we have seen that plenty over the course of this show.
Right.
But seeing things like this where it's sort of more the home life,
right,
so to speak, of these characters, that's really good too.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then we have this encounter where she puts a gas Molotov cocktail type explosive in the teacher's hands, blows up in her hands, catches her hair on fire, probably to ruin the interview side of things there, so she
in addition to just terrorizing her.
In addition to that.
Yeah.
Goes into some brainwashing level French mumbling to just terrorize her even more.
Yeah.
Probably in some ways to be I know what you did.
Yeah.
I remember what you did. I'm holding over you what you did. No one else here understands what you did, but I do.
And you
now,
do.
Just tremble.
Yeah.
She basically cast some kind of fear spell on her.
Oh, yeah.
And it was straight up Johan.
Yeah. Urumi is definitely a wizard in a non-magical world. Yeah.
Kanzaki, if there is something legitimate behind this, which I believe there is going to be.
After this?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm very much looking forward to Onizuka being the great teacher and helping you in this. Because...
Yeah. One of the things that hit me pretty hard this episode was when she was leaving, and she's walking on the divide between the freeways.
Yeah.
Or highways, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
fast
traffic.
Yeah.
The whole thing that she had said in the previous episode about I was half serious, jumping and killing yourself, you know?
Yeah. Her self-worth is really low.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a trauma type thing.
Well, and an abuse thing.
An abuse thing as well.
You know, so
because I'm dirty, I'm not worth much because look how badly I was treated. This is maybe going to get really heavy and really dark, or both, in that it's going to go into that, but it's also going to go into how her arc is going to I would say bleed into what's going on with Onizuka. Because if it's really a thing where she's bringing this all out on other teachers and stuff because she believes the entire system is corrupt and it produces people like probably her abuser who prey upon these children and stuff. And in some ways, she's not entirely wrong in that there are teachers who, like the whole thing with Yoshikawa, who would essentially just kind of egg on the bullying a little bit. Now, if I remember correctly, I don't know if that exactly was what happened.
No, there was no egging on by teachers for Yoshikawa.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was an instance earlier on in the show where a teacher was complicit, essentially, with calling boys trash. What was that?
That was the vice principal.
Yes.
When in episode 2, when Onizuka was coming in for the interview and such.
Right.
And he was. The vice principal tells him, you've got the job if you save me from those, those dudes,
thugs,
those thugs, that trash,
Yeah.
And then he's like,
that kind of stuff there, where they were threatening him. So there's that. He was kind of just and afraid for his life or his well-being. But most teachers, I believe, or maybe I'm an optimist, I believe most teachers are just trying to get through the next day. Most teachers have
horribly overworked and underpaid.
Decent intentions, but are suffering from a different kind of abuse, not nearly as extreme, but one of basically just being in what's widely considered to be one of the worst full-time careers out there. Yeah. Just
like you have to be one teacher that I had for math. That was great teacher. She was awesome. And I had asked her about this whole idea of the overworked, underpaid, and all that stuff. Because she would frequently talk about the ways in which she would blow off steam while like grading 60 tests or something like that. And I would just be like, how do you handle that, and how do teachers in general handle that? And she's like, well, you kind of have to be one of those bleeding hearts that just really wants to teach, right? But the thing is that some people get into it and then they realize that they're not.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of too late to like change professions, and they're not comfortable just starting from scratch, so they stay in it. And then
resentment builds up.
And
it's self-focused.
Yeah,
but one of the worst things
that always goes out.
That goes out. When you resent yourself and you have regrets towards yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So
my own body was like, ugh, get that out. But like,
I'm allergic. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing where it seems messed up. This is very messed up. But that's the kind of resentment where it's going to go out to those that it's easy to dish it out to. And if you're a teacher in a position of power, you really have to respect that position of power, that position of authority, because holy crap. I'm really looking forward to now actually just being surprised by this show handling this whole thing exceptionally well.
I get the feeling that this very well could be one of the best parts of Onizuka as a whole.
Wow.
Because
if they handle it really well, this will be an amazing show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I take back all of my doubts, my worries about this kind of being somewhat of a stretch with regards to this being a comedy show, because I feel like I forgot the feeling that this show gave me in the beginning.
Yes.
With Yoshikawa.
Yeah.
And that this show can go into that. And it has been heavily foreshadowed to the point of us predicting this, basically this exact thing,
and
based on only the last little bit that we've had with Kanzuki.
And now I'm imagining Onizuka basically like potentially confronting Aizawa at some point, because in a lot of ways I think Onizuka isn't even aware of Aizawa, that
Sure.
she's causing all this trouble, but if he does become aware and he knows about this stuff, and it was, you know, same thing for both Kanzaki and Aizawa,
potentially,
then he could, and he basically says something like, I know, you know, and like it could be one of those things where the resolution of that conflict, the climax of that conflict is almost like not non-existent, but it's done in a way that we never would have expected. It doesn't have all the bombastic antics that GTO usually has.
Maybe
right?
because they're also being smart and they're realizing that you can't just solve
Right,
something like that with humor and comedy.
And it's certainly not something that's going to be solved overnight. Even if Onizuka say does bust down the guy's door and beat the crap out of him, assuming
it's
we're
going to be
even right
cathartic
about
at the
about
very
this
least.
theory.
You know?
Yeah.
It's going to feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
For us, I mean.
Yep.
Not them. They're going to feel the pain.
That's not going to fix everything.
No, it's not even going to fix anything.
No,
really.
nothing. It's probably just going to make Onizuka feel good. He's like, okay, all right, and now I feel prepared to basically help these kids.
Hey,
you
hero
know?
of justice. I mean,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Wow, I am surprised that we really might be going here, but Kanzuki is a proper child antagonist.
Yeah,
because they're reminding us how weak and how vulnerable she could have been 4 years ago.
Oh yeah. But she certainly isn't now.
And how much whatever it was mattered to her, you know, affected her is more a proper way to look at it, to where what she's doing now might end up making a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, guys, looking forward to GTO blowing, just knocking it out of the park with this. So, looking forward to more episodes of that. If you want to see more episodes of us reacting to that, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access where you can chat with us about stories or whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.